Yo, K-Slay, drama king, man. Realest DJ in the game, man.
Peace, world. Media art specialist D.Bail representing for the Justo's Mixtape Awards. And yeah, man, we took a loss as a culture of hip-hop with the passing of the late, great DJ K-Slay. DJ K-Slay was a icon in hip-hop. He was a man that, from his early graffiti beginnings, represented all four elements of hip-hop. I come a little bit later in terms of my getting to know of who he was and what he represented in terms of like the late 90s and being a mixtape all-star DJ. But his early beginnings in graffiti, breakdancing, of course being a DJ, even being an MC. Some people might forget that K-Slay also had bars on the Street Sweeper album, his debut album. He had a joint called The Champions, and he spit a hard verse on that. You know what I mean? The Champions was a fire joint. That was Doo-Wop, K-Slay, DJ Clue, SNS, Funk Master Flex, and Tony Touch. So definitely check that joint out. You know what I mean? But DJ K-Slay was probably the most winningest DJ at the Justo's Mixtape Awards, which was referred to by MTV as being the Grammys of the streets. So instead of the Grammy, instead of the Oscar, instead of the Emmy, mixtape DJs and artists won a Justo Award. And it was a big deal. It was bigger than a big deal. It officially certified you as being the best in your lane, the best in your craft. And DJ K-Slay, particularly in the years 2001 and 2002, was recognized as the best mixtape DJ on the planet. There was nobody that was touching his level of exclusives, the freestyles. You know, I love DJ Clue too, and Clue held the crown for many years as well. But 2001, 2002, 2003, those were banner years for DJ K-Slay. And he had the streets on smash. There's no other way to look at it. He introduced me to artists like Papoose and Saigon. He was the type of DJ that you would try to run up on and spit some bars for in hopes that, you know, he would recognize you or you could give him your mixtape. Like, those type of DJs don't really exist anymore. So K-Slay really represented the culture. Like, if you hear Papoose's story on how he connected with Slay, like, for artists to get those type of opportunities and for K-Slay to recognize and give those opportunities to many cats is amazing. We know that he was a DJ on a Sirius satellite and of course Hot 97 FM. But those drama hours on Hot 97, he put on a lot of MCs, a lot of underground MCs, a lot of people that were definitely trying to make their wave. So big ups to K-Slay, man. DJ K-Slay was also the go-to in terms of like hosting projects. So when the Diplomats started to make their run, you know, Jim Jones, Cameron, Jewels, and Freaky Zeke, they tapped in DJ K-Slay to introduce them to the world as the Harlem Diplomats. So he was just the go-to guy. If he played your song, it meant that you were somebody. It definitely did. Just recently on my YouTube channel, Grustle Media, I uploaded a throwback clip of Funk Master Flex interviewing DJ K-Slay on the Top 8 at 8. But this was a clip that I felt like was very, very important because although DJ K-Slay was known as the Drama King and Slap Your Favorite DJ and all of that good stuff, he was somebody that always wanted the culture to remain based on talent, like lyrics, beat battles. Let's keep it there. Like, we're not going to incorporate a lot of violence within hip-hop, like actual violence. So check this clip out.
It's when it's a little bit too personal, like it's way off the subject of rap. This is hip-hop, mind you. If you're coming at somebody on a record, it should be lyrics.
Okay.
When it's a little bit more to your personal, like your family members and you know what I'm gonna do and I'll see you and all that. It's not hip hop. Yeah, that's come on, that's an indictment. Yeah, that's a verbal indictment which they will be asking for a copy of my show.
Because it's a
situation pop, exactly. So you up here, Flex, and I'm pretty sure you got love for Kid Capri, and you got love for every other club DJ, but you're like, when I come to the clubs, I'm coming to smash every spot.
Okay,
this is what it is. It's no disrespect to nobody. You just
this is so to me.
Exactly.
No, I know what you mean.
That's all. I don't feel, but it's not gonna come across the airways like that.
I'm remember the other rap in a minute because it's someone else.
One of the things that I feel like is kind of overlooked was the fact that K Slade collaborated with a lot of up and coming DJs. Some of those drops are some of my favorite mixtapes. So you got DJ Big Mike, who was Rookie of the Year, I think in 2002. K Slade collaborated with him on a mixtape called Racial Profiling. That's fire. But from Big Mike to Cutmaster C to DJ Greg Street from the ATL, DJ Who Kid, 2002 State of Emergency, which won a Justo Mixtape Award that year. And K Slade and Green Lantern had a drop. So K Slade uplifted other DJs within the culture. He wasn't selfish, even as the man holding the crown, where he couldn't collaborate with other DJs. And like all those mixtapes to me are classics, but they definitely stand the test of time. Like there are certain songs that are on K Slade tapes that you can't get anywhere else. I just have fond memories of, you know, going to Amadou on 14th Street in New York City to cop, you know, the newest K Slade, Big Mike's, Clues, Who Kids, Green Lanterns, Cool Kid. Those are some of my favorites, you know what I mean? Cutmaster C, you know what I'm saying? Super Mario. You know, I love those drops, you know what I mean? And, you know, hip hop had a way of keeping us inspired in just so many ways. K Slade, you knew what it was. Like when you popped that tape in, you knew he was gonna be yelling and screaming.
Hey, it was DJ K Slade.
You know that his drops sometimes were so loud that you riding down the street and you bumping the K Slade mixtape, you might have to turn it down.
The Drama King.
Whoa, the K Slade mixtape was a full experience. And like I said, he just embodied a piece of the culture of the underground that I really respected, in terms of like underdogs. Like to me, that's what K Slade represented, like the underdogs of hip hop. Like I just wanted to put a little bit of a spotlight on this brother and what he contributed. Back then, it was hard for DJs to get exclusives, but K Slade was so well respected that he could always get those types of things. So when you listen to K Slade, you knew what it was going to be. You knew you was going to get some exclusives. I mean, the drama hour that came on Thursday nights at 12, it was late night. You know, I have to work the next day, and then sometimes they would do double drama. So it would be 12 to 2 a.m. in the morning. I might wake up and go to the bathroom out of my sleep at like 12:45, and I get back into bed and I hear warning, drama King's in the building. Oh, that's K Slade. Yo, I can't even go to sleep until the end of the drama hour. You know what I'm saying? Even double dramas sometimes. I would just be up to 2 because I know, number one, Slade's gonna play some exclusives. He might have a special guest rapper that I rock with, that I just want to hear, you know, spit some freestyle. It just was crazy like that. Like you get excited at 1 o'clock in the morning after you done worked a 10-hour day. That's the energy that K Slade brought to the airwaves that I feel has been missing a lot. For me, growing up listening to this man and then finally entering an industry that I wanted to be a part of since I was in my early teens was amazing. So my first interaction with K Slade was a little rough. I ain't gonna hold you. I was interning for Bloodline Records, rest in peace to DMX, at Def Jam. I was like in the lobby. It was me and it was Littles from Queensbridge. He was the manager of Mobb Deep at the time, and we were waiting to get the clearance to go upstairs. And in walks in the Drama King, K Slade. You know how he had the leathers, the matching hats, you know, the shades. I'm like, that's K Slade. Oh wow, I listen to this man's mixtapes all the time. Like, and he's carrying this box And from what I could gather, from what I could see, it's mixtapes. It's a whole box full of mixtapes. And you know, me being me, closed mouth don't get fed. I need that new K Slay, bruh. So I walked up on him. I'm like, yo, Slay, what's up, bruh? My name is Doug. This, that, and the fourth. Yo, can I get a new mixtape? And he's like looking at me like, man, you can go to the store and buy one of these mixtapes. I'm like, come on, Slay. I intern at the label. What's up, man? And he's just kind of like looking me up and down. And Littles, he's standing to the side. He's like, yo, Slay, get a kid a mixtape, bruh. Come on, Slay. And he's like, all right, man, take a mixtape, man. Make sure you bump this joint. I said, bro, you know, I'm going back to the hood. I lived in Jersey City at the time. Bro, we gonna play this, man. Like, you really that dude. But I could tell he wasn't for nothing. He wasn't for no games. One of the things that I learned just by listening and observing K Slay, there was a difference. And I don't know if he was the one that came up with this term. I know Rough Riders definitely had a lot to do with this. In the streets versus industry. Right? There's industry people and they're in the street people. And I never wanted to be an industry person. I always wanted to be acknowledged as somebody, a person that worked in the industry versus an industry person. Because a lot of what I saw in terms of industry people, it wasn't good. These gatekeepers that don't want to allow anybody to grow or to expand or to absorb the culture. And unfortunately, there were a lot of industry people, of course, working in the industry, but at the labels and stuff like that. And you would see these like smug people and be like, how the heck you got a job working in hip hop acting like this, you know? So I love the fact that K Slay always like separated himself from the industry. And that's how I wanted to, that's how I've been since I've been in the industry. I'm more like observant, you know. I like to analyze and see where people are at. You got to be careful like who you affiliate with, who you associate yourself with. So that's something I learned, you know, through K Slay. Like, you know, you could be of the industry, but don't be an industry type of person. So he definitely wasn't that. So I'm meeting him and he's like, yo, he's gruff. His demeanor is very like, don't play around, don't mess around. You know what I mean? So I had that experience, and it wasn't a bad experience. It was just like, all right, cool. I stayed at Bloodline for maybe a month. Shout out to Bazaar Royale, because that was the one artist that Bloodline had signed that I worked with. Fast forward to 2005, March 2005. At the time, I was interning with Comcast, and I had a job as a host for a least access show in New Jersey called Where You At Video Show. Shout out to Mike Sisti. He was the creator of the show. He was the producer. Him and his co-producer Chris Morton gave me an opportunity to host this fantastic show where I was able to go to all the labels, interview artists that's got projects dropping, major artists, underground artists, the whole 9 yards. So I'm really getting my feet wet within the industry, and I'm making my strides and whatnot. So I get the phone call that I could host the backstage portion of the Mixtape Awards 2005, which means I'm going to interview all of the artists and DJs that are being honored or being represented at this Mixtape Award. This was the biggest gig that I ever had in my life up until this point. So I'm working with Justo, and I'm working with Justo's video production team, and the lead of that was the Emmy Award winning Bobby Yan. You know, shout out to Bobby Yan, man. He's doing great things, directing now. Like, I'm super proud of this dude because I've like watched his career elevate, you know, from hip hop to gospel to now just mainstream, you know. So I had to sit down with Bobby to kind of figure out like exactly what Justo was looking for with these interviews. And at one point, Bobby is telling me, you're gonna interview K Slay, but when you interview him, I'm shooting a small independent film, and Bobby needed like a scene with like me talking to K Slay about something that was happening in the streets, and he's supposed to respond to it. I had met K Slay before already. That interaction was a little like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, whatever you need, bro, I'm gonna ask him, right? So after configuring with Bobby Yan, I start the interview with K Slay. It was a great interaction, great time, really respectful, and you know, he leaves, you know what I'm saying? And Justo passes away a couple months after that, and the Mixtape Awards has never been the same, of course, with the loss of the founder, right? I mean, we are still here. Shout out to DJ Slayer. We are still trying to make moves, and that kind of led to my third interaction with them. Now we're colleagues. You know, I got a job working with Hot 97 through the WBLS merger in 2013. So now I'm at Hot 97, and it was a summer jam, I want to say 2017, 2018. And in my talks with DJ Slayer, the now owner of the Mixtape Awards, the idea was basically whatever DJs that I could contact that I know was affiliated with the Mixtape Awards, I'm just going to try to like reconnect with them and see if we could, even if we don't have another award show, that we could do something that will honor the memory of Justo, because I always state, like, I just feel like, you know, his contributions are not as enhanced or as visible as they should be in terms of our culture. Like when people talk about the mixtape game, you know, if you know, real heads will always do that. But not enough people acknowledge Justo Faison and the work that he did with the artists, not just in New York. I'm talking about the whole entire country. When I went to the Mixtape Awards in 05, it was the South, it was the West, it was the East, it was the Mid, it was everybody, it was everything, you know. And that, to me, that's the love of the culture, the unity of hip hop that's missing right now, right? So my third time conversating with K-Slay was that day at Summer Jam, you know, during the Festival Village, before everything was even kicking off. And I'm like, yo, Slay, you know, my name is Doug. We met before, back in the days, and we had a really respectful conversation. And now it was different, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to go into details about that conversation because it was a personal conversation involving his beloved friend, Justo Faison, and some other things that I'm not privy to really speak about. But it was a good conversation, and I just felt good. I called DJ Slayer. I was like, yo, I saw the Drama King. I chopped it up with him, and this is what he had to say. I just want to say rest in power to K-Slay, man. Yo, industry politics could really destroy dreams. K-Slay navigated through this industry so well, man. Always kept his integrity, and that's the one thing I learned from him. Like, you could really be who you are and still keep your integrity, man. So rest in power to K-Slay. The video that I posted on my page with Funk Flex and K-Slay, that interview, K-Slay drops his top 5 MCs. Definitely go check out that interview. We're gonna check out this one clip though right here.
What's your top 5 of all time?
Top 5 of all time will be, we saying all time, I have to start with Melly Mel, Rakim.
He's getting it real.
Yeah, of all time, I gotta go from beginning to present. Melly Mel, Rakim, Ghostface, 50 Cent, and Nas.
Top 5 of all time.
Exactly.
Okay.
K-Slay, all 4 elements of hip hop. Yeah, he had bars. He wasn't a rapper per se, but he could spit, you know what I'm saying? And also, it was the fact that he could recognize true talent in other people. Like, he knew what an MC's MC was. That's why he rocked with Pap. That's why he rocked with Saigon. That's why he rocked with everybody that he did. So I think that that was also a special talent. Like, K-Slay could have ran a record label. I mean, Street Sweepers basically was a label, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just put a lot of people on, and I want to get back to that, you know what I'm saying? So I did this video on behalf of the Mixtape Awards as a whole and of K-Slay's legacy. K-Slay was a huge part of the Justo Mixtape Award legacy. He was a big part of that. He was featured in the documentary that Justo put out. My name is D.Bail, media arts specialist, Justo Mixtape Award alumni, giving my condolences to K-Slay, his friends, his family. Slay, you will never be forgotten. Thank you for all your contributions. Stay tuned. We here at the Mixtape Awards we're gonna continue uplifting the legacy of all of our beloved DJs, like Mr. K-Slay. Peace and love. Rest in peace, Drama King, K-Slay.